We have 4 viewers right now. Welcome to the webinar, everyone. And I'm sorry really about the technical glitch we faced earlier today. Hopefully, we won't face any while we're on. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce myself to you. I'm Mayura Sandeep. I'm basically an advertising and marketing communications professional. Um, I have an interest in nonprofit marketing and communications. And right now, I'm pursuing my master's in social media. And my research thesis is focused on using social media for nonprofit fundraising. So, welcome again to the webinar. And I'm now going to screen share my presentation with you. And that'll take a few seconds, so please hang on. And while I do that, may I remind you to please check your video and audio settings and post a question there for me in case you're facing any glitches, if you're not able to see the screen or anything like that. And you can also tweet your questions to me at Mayura Sandeep, that's my Twitter handle. Okay, so looks like we're on. Okay. So before we begin the webinar, um, I'd like to really take you through the main topics that we're going to cover today. Uh, okay. Hopefully you're able to see the screen clearly. Okay. So these are the key topics that we'll be covering today. Social media and fundraising, an introduction to social media and fundraising, engaging existing donors on social media, cultivating new donors, and tools and apps for social media fundraising. It's really simple, no rocket science there, very straightforward, and hopefully you should have some to take with you by the end of this webinar. I'd like to begin with a very basic question. Is fundraising just about raising money? Is it really just about making the ask? What do you think as a nonprofit? If you are really involved in fundraising, you will agree with this quote by Redmond Mullin, who says fundraising is really a function of idealism. It should be sensitive, challenging, skilled, and efficient, but it will fail if it concentrates only on money. So, if it's really not just about money, what is it about then? Fundraising really is about relationship building. It's about connecting your charity's needs to your donors' values. It's really about connecting your objectives to their ideals. So, if it is about relationship building, then what better platform do we have today to do that than social media? Social media really is about social networking and accessing people from around the world. So that's where the strong connection lies between fundraising and social media. It's really in your ability for relationship building with your donors. I'd like to start with giving you an introduction of what nonprofits around the world are doing on social media today. About 95% NGOs worldwide have at least a Facebook page. I'm sure you have too. 83% are on Twitter and about 40% are on Instagram. Today, social media is among the top four ways that nonprofits use to connect with their donors. The others being direct mailers, one-on-one, and emails. Um, and some of the reasons why they use social media are to increase traffic to their website, to interact with their supporters, and provide project updates to them. These are the top five social networks that nonprofits use mostly. Facebook and Twitter tops the list, of course. Okay, so why use social media specifically for fundraising? Social media tools have been known to increase fundraising results by up to 40%, which means that nonprofits that use social media tools raise 40% more funds than those who don't. It is also popular as a fundraising tool because of its massive reach at a very minimal investment. Nonprofits are known to have very stringent marketing budgets, so it works really well for them to use social media where they can do a lot of stuff without spending any money and even more by spending a very small amount. The third reason why social media is especially good for fundraising is because it allows you to have two-way conversations with your donors. And we just saw how important relationship building is to fundraising. So, social media gives you that opportunity to strengthen your relationships and help build loyalty towards your NGO or cause, which can go a long way in repeat fundraising and as well as creating new donors for your NGO. There are two main aspects to fundraising, really, which is engaging your existing donors and cultivating new donors. And social media is known to be effective in both these aspects of fundraising. Let's begin by examining how you can engage your existing donors on social media. Here's another quote by Redmond Mullin, which, of course, he said much before social media saw the light of the day, but it still holds good. He said, "Committed donors are a nonprofit's most precious assets." He also went on to say that if you build one-on-one relationships with your donors, you have to maintain relationship records with your donors, which will go a long way in helping you communicate effectively and productively with them. And social media gives you the perfect opportunity and the tools to build relationships with your donors. Okay, let's look at what donor engagement really means on social media. Donor engagement is really about just keeping your existing donors happy and informed through regular and thoughtful interaction, about keeping you on top of their mind at all time. And how do you do that? You do that by posting sensitive and shareable content that adds value in some way rather than just making an ask. If you post three donate now posts, probably they'll take you off their news feed and unlike your page. But if you rather share sensitive and interesting content, they'll probably come back to your page and share your content with their network more often. Okay, so that's enough of an introduction, I think, to donor engagement. Now let's look at some real tips from real examples on how you can engage your existing donors on your social media networks. I call these pro tips. And here are some examples that I've taken from NGOs who are doing it right. So pro tip one is really about going beyond sharing just information about your NGO, which gets boring after a while, doesn't it? You rather share uh, the impact of their donations through success stories and visuals. Remember to say how their donation was used. Show visuals that show the progress of your project. Tell them how far you've gone in making your project come true. Really, visuals and success stories are central to good engagement on social media, whether it's for nonprofits or not. It's seen that posts that have visuals in them attract about 4 times more engagement, and if you have videos, about 7 times more engagement. So that's another pro tip for you. Okay, so pro tip 2 is really to remember to acknowledge and appreciate support through comments, likes, thank you posts, tweets, however you like to do it on your social networks. But remember to say thank you. That's really important. Acknowledging the support of your donors encourages them to do more. Pro tip 3 is to remember that social media a is an interactive medium. Remember to have two-way conversations with your donors. Encourage their feedback and promote user-generated content. Um, Ask them to share their experience of being a part of your project. Here's an example from Global Giving. What they've actually done is to help the Nepal earthquake crisis. They were supporting a number of NGOs. So they got those NGOs which were on ground at the earthquake site to shoot videos, and they posted those videos instead of just posting appeals on their social media network. They posted these videos taken by people working on the ground, which gave a lot more authenticity to their content and a lot more engagement than they would have got otherwise. If you see carefully, this particular post attracted about 3,100 views, which is not bad at all. Okay, so pro tip 4 is to listen and learn, or to observe and adapt from member behavior. Really see on your Facebook page or whichever social network you're using, what kind of posts attract the most likes, what kind of posts attract the most engagement in terms of comments or retweets or at mentions. This NGO here probably figured out that posting sunny, happy visuals of children who are really their target or their beneficiaries attracted a lot of engagement. People like to see these positive images of the underprivileged children they were helping. And this post has about 285 likes. Okay, so finally, your last pro tip is to remember that you're doing all this, engaging your donors well, only because you want to nudge them to donate more, right? So remember from time to time to direct them to your Donate Now page. Share a link to your donation page in your posts, but remember to do it within a strong appeal and a relevant visual. Like this post here, I'd like to read it to you if it's not visible so much to you. It says 2 days to go to ensure that 30,000 more children are in CRY supported project areas experience the joy of turning 5. Donate now, and they have a link to their donation page. Um, so remember to do this every once in a while, but don't make every post a donate now post. So that's really about engaging your existing donors. And if you have any questions regarding this, please feel free to post them. I'm right now looking at the presentation page, but I will look from time to time at your questions and try answering them while we are still online. Looks like we have a few more viewers, and I'd like to welcome them. We've just finished talking about engaging existing donors, but now we're going to start talking about how to cultivate new donors on social media. So stay tuned in, even if you've missed a bit. Okay, so what does cultivating new donors really mean? I'd like to read this quote here from George Muller. He says, generous donors who personally invite their equals to support the cause at levels similar to their own generosity are the most effective fundraisers. I'm sure you'll agree. It's really about a CEO asking his CEO friend to donate to a cause he supports, which is far more effective than a fundraising executive going and making the appeal. This form of fundraising is really called social fundraising, and social fundraising on social media takes two predominant forms, which is crowdfunding and peer-to-peer fundraising. We're going to study these two methods in detail and how they're carried out on social media with real examples and a lot of pro tips. Okay, so what does cultivating new donors on social media really mean, and what does it entail? This form of cultivating new donors is called social soliciting as well. And it really means that your followers, your existing followers, make the solicit or the ask on your behalf or on the nonprofit's behalf. So it's really about friends asking friends on social media to donate to a cause that they believe in. Um, it's important to remember that connecting donors is really about connecting values on social media. Um, I'm sure you've been a part of this culture as well. We all are. That today philanthropy is a means to self-expression on social media. People really go and like a nonprofit page, or they share a post about a fundraising event, or even about a natural disaster, really because it connects with their values. It is a sort of expression of who they are. So remember that the kind of content you put up must connect with the values of your donors or your audience so that they participate in your fundraising campaign. Another important thing to remember, since we're talking about cultivating new donors, is that it's important to include the web savvy millennials in your fundraising ventures. We often overlook them, but millions of them today are entering workforce, and this generation is really born web savvy. So you really have to up your social media strategy to attract them and engage them. It's very different from engaging a 50-year-old or a 40-year-old even who is learning to be social media savvy. These guys are way beyond, and you really need to get very creative with engaging the millennials. And if you do that right, you'll probably create a whole new generation of digital donors, and who really doesn't want that? Okay, so let's now look at these two fundraising methods: crowdfunding uh, and peer-to-peer fundraising. I'd like to begin with crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is, what is crowdfunding? Crowdfunding really is about raising funds for your project by asking a large number of people for a small amount of money each. And this is often done through internet-based platforms. So it's really not about raising 20,000 from one big donor, but it's about raising 20 or more thousand by asking 100 donors who will donate a small amount each through internet-based platforms. Crowdfunding is not used just for charitable causes. Crowdfunding is used by businesses, by startup businesses. It's used by individuals who want to raise funds for their own personal cause. But when it is used for charitable causes, it's called donation-based crowdfunding. There are hundreds or at least dozens of crowdfunding sites today on the internet, and some of them specialize in crowdfunding for nonprofits. And these are GoFundMe, Global Giving, You Caring, Give Forward, and CauseWalks. You can really look at this video once we're done and make a note of these platforms. I'd really encourage you to see each of these platforms and see how they work and how you can probably create your own fundraising campaign on it. Um, and it's also important to note that the way these platforms function is that for all the tools and affordances that they give you, they charge you about 5 to 10% fee on all your donations. Let's look at a few examples of crowdfunding campaigns done on these crowdfunding sites. Okay, so this is how a campaign can look on a crowdfunding site. This is a campaign that was done by an Australian charity called One Girl, which created a crowdfunding campaign to raise about 40,000 to educate about 100 underprivileged children in Sierra Leone. So their target was really to raise 40,000 in a week's time through this crowdfunding platform. And so they created a very interesting campaign, which they called Do It in a Dress, which was really about asking people to wear uniforms or school dresses and post their pictures on social media and join this fundraising campaign themselves. So all people had to do if they wanted to donate was visit this page, find out about the project by watching this video, and see how many days are left, how much was raised, and then just click on the donate link. As simple as that. Here's another example of a crowdfunding campaign on another crowdfunding platform called GoFundMe. This was done by an individual, a man whose child was born with Down syndrome, and he was contemplating on giving his child away because he couldn't afford the treatment. So he created a a crowdfunding campaign on GoFundMe, and to raise some money to take his child back home to his home country and treat the child. So he called it Bring Leo Home, and he ended up raising a lot more than he wanted to. He raised about $450,000 and ended up helping a lot more children born with Down syndrome, not just his son. So that's how powerful a crowdfunding campaign can be if it's promoted the right way and done the right way. And it's really simple. If a single parent, a man can do it, so can you as a charity. Okay, so what does social media have to do with crowdfunding anyway? If it's really done on a digital platform, and what does social media have to do with it? Well, social media is crucial to your fundraising campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns, simply because that's how the word spreads on the digital medium. Remember that you're doing this crowdfunding on a digital platform. So how else will you spread the word than digitally? And social media is really the best way to do it, the most cost-effective way to do it, um, and the fastest way to do it. Um, so social media really helps you extend the reach of your campaign by not only taking it to your followers, but then helping them to take to their followers and creating a snowball effect. Um, okay, so the most popular platforms used for crowdfunding are Facebook and Twitter. No prizes for guessing that. That's really because of the massive reach and the levels of interactivity it offers. The others, of course, are Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. And it's not that you can only limit it to Facebook and Twitter, but mostly those are the platforms used to spread the word. Okay, so here now we start with some pro tips for crowdfunding on social media. These are really simple tips that you can keep in mind, but they'll make a huge difference to your crowdfunding campaign. The first pro tip really is to remember to choose the right channel. It's important to choose the right channel based on which social media channel you have the maximum number of followers. But it's also important to remember that you should go to a platform where your prospects are likely to be found. For example, I've chosen this example because this crowdfunding campaign was done entirely on LinkedIn. They never used Facebook or Twitter. So this is done by, it's not a crowdfunding campaign for a nonprofit. but it's really an example that you can follow. So that's why I've chosen this one particularly. This is a crowdfunding campaign by a software entrepreneur called Frank Hannigan. What he did was he wanted to raise funds for his startup software company. So he simply went on LinkedIn and he sent a direct message to about 700 targeted top executives. And within a week, he got a positive response from about 200 of those 700 people he messaged, and he was able to reach his target or exceed his target of $230,000 in just a week's time. So that's all it took for him to do that. Identify the right people and send a message to them with his strong appeal. So if you as a nonprofit want to target top executives or high net worth individuals, then LinkedIn is the place you should choose rather than Facebook or Twitter. So that's a pro tip. Um, that's probably the most important one. And the next pro tip is before you even begin your crowdfunding campaign, make sure that you have your campaign toolkit ready. A campaign toolkit has everything you will need, not only for yourself, but also for your supporters to keep your campaign running once it begins, which can include a Facebook campaign page that you create, or a Facebook event or a group page if you're targeting lesser number of people. Okay, this is not part of the pro tip, but let me tell you that a Facebook campaign page is really something you will do to target the public, a larger audience. A Facebook event is something you will create if you want to target your existing followers or a small number of people. So that's really the difference. And then it's very important to have a campaign hashtag, because that's what people will use to share their posts with their networks. And that's the only way you can track how far your campaign has reached. If you use social media regularly, I'm sure you know that by searching for a hashtag, you will see all the posts that have used the hashtag. Um, so that's the easiest way to see how far your crowdfunding campaign has gone. It can also include creating a Google Plus community. It can include creating videos that talk about or introduce your crowdfunding campaign, creating images and posters to support your crowdfunding campaign, etc. Okay, so that's about creating a campaign toolkit. Let's move on. The pro tip 3 is really about remembering to create engaging content. It's a really important pro tip because only engaging posts get shared. So creating engaging posts can mean creating posts that have your campaign insights, your progress updates as your project is going forward, how much funds you have raised, and it also includes thanking your donors, preferably thanking each one of your donors on your social network. So it's not really about just making the ask and saying, follow this link to this crowdfunding site and donate now. It's really about saying, look what this individual did for our crowdfunding campaign. Look what we were able to do with with the funds raised so far. And the right ratio for your content mix is to have about 80% posts that drive awareness, and only about 20% posts which solicit a contribution. So for every four posts, you have just one post that talks about uh, donate now. Okay, so the fourth pro tip is to use analytics. Analytics really just helps you measure your social media activity. So it is used to track results and also to use the results to tweak your content. So what does it really mean? It means that there are a lot of free analytic tools. Like Facebook has Facebook Insights that you can use to monitor your page activities. Twitter has Twitter Analytics, and then there's Google Analytics. So these help you see who is actually visiting your page, how many people are using your hashtag, which posts of yours attracted the maximum engagement, where are your visitors from, how many of them are men and how many are women, what are their demographics, etc. Really, everything you need to know about what's going on with your social media campaign, um, and the kind of response it's attracting. Here's a snapshot of my Twitter analytics page. It's really from the activity I was doing on Twitter to promote this webinar. So it tells you how many impressions I have attracted in 28 days. Impressions is really how many times my posts appeared in the news feed. That's what impression means. And then it also says that I had an engagement of 1.5% on this day here, which means that uh, 1.5 out of 100 engaged with those posts and didn't simply see them. Uh, an engagement really means that they either clicked on it, they liked it, or they retweeted it, or they at mentioned it, or they replied to the tweet. Um, so by looking at these and even looking at the analytics for each individual post, like here, for this particular post, it says I had 24 impressions and 2 engagements. So it tells me I can see which posts actually got more engagement and try to post similar posts rather than posts which had 0 engagement. So it's really simple to do this, although it may look complicated with graphs and numbers. But if you simply click on Facebook Insights on your Facebook page, or simply now follow this link here, I have given you the link out for my Twitter analytics page, but you can simply replace my name with your Twitter handle and look at what your Twitter analytics has to say about you or your organization's Twitter handle. It's really important to do this to measure your crowdfunding success, because you want to it's a limited time that you have to collect an x amount of money. So you want to make sure that you drive the highest engagement and that your posts reach as far as possible on the social media. Okay, so the last pro tip for crowdfunding on social media is that since you're really doing this crowdfunding campaign to raise a lot of money, it won't hurt to spend a little bit on paid marketing tools that Facebook offers or Twitter offers, which are really, really good. And they don't cost a lot. So Facebook has Facebook advertising, and Twitter has Twitter ads to boost your posts. And these can be used to boost your posts, which means that your post will appear higher than the others on the news feed of your followers, or it can be used to promote your page. Either ways, or there are also a lot of crowdfunding apps today, which are built to help you market your crowdfunding campaign on the social media. An example is Crowdster's Twitter marketing app, which you can simply use their tool by paying a small amount of money, and they'll do all the marketing for you on Twitter. They'll help you get the right followers and make sure that your posts appear at the right time, at strategic times, and in strategic locations. Okay, so that was really about crowdfunding on social media. Before we move forward, I think we should take a break from this session, and I'd like to temporarily take off the screen and show you what a crowdfunding campaign success can really look like with an example. Please give me a second while I do that. And if you have any questions, this is the time to post it. Okay. Okay, so I'm now gonna share a new screen with you. Uh, Please hang on while I do that. Okay, I hope you can see that. Okay, so this is um, a non-profit organization in Seattle called Facing Homelessness. Uh, it's really about helping homeless people getting resources that they need from the people living in the city. Uh, so as you can see, they rely a lot on real stories. So this was really started by an architect who built really expensive homes in Seattle. And then he realized that there are a lot of people who don't have basic shelter that they can call a home. So he decided to do something for them. What they do is really simple. They simply use Facebook for their crowdfunding. The reason I'm showing you this example is that you don't always have to use crowdfunding platforms like GoFundMe to do your crowdfunding. You can simply even use Facebook to do it, or Twitter to do it in an interesting way. So what this NGO does is it uses real stories of real homeless people and posts them on their Facebook page. For example, this is somebody uh, this is one of their beneficiaries who got what he wanted, and so they've posted a thank you note saying, "For all who donated, here's saying thank you." Uh, so here's another example of what they've done. Uh, they really connect people to they really connect the needy to the donors. That's what they do, but they do it in a very simple, very organic, and very heart touching way. So here's a father and a daughter who donated a camera to a homeless person. So what they do is they create heroes out of everyday donors, and they create heart-wrenching stories about every homeless person. So simply by posting interesting stories and visuals, they're able to fulfill their needs within 2 hours of posting the the ask really on their Facebook page. That's a very successful way of doing it. There is a TED talk about this organization which I'd encourage you to watch. It's called Facing Homelessness. Do please watch and do visit their Facebook page and see how they're doing it. I'm sure you can learn about what good storytelling and powerful visuals can do to your fundraising campaign. Um, okay, so I think that was a nice break from our session, and now let's get back to it. Let me now share the screen again with you of the presentation. Uh, Please wait while I do that. Okay. And please let me know if you have any issues with watching the video or watching the screen. Okay, it looks like it's playing perfectly well. Okay, so let's now move on from crowdfunding to another important way of uh, finding new donors or cultivating new donors on social media, which is peer-to-peer fundraising. So peer-to-peer fundraising is really about one friend taking your message to two of his friends, and then he taking it to two of his friends, and then really your message having a snowball effect on social media and going to thousands of people by just connecting it to a few. Okay, so it has been researched that 33% of all online donations today are made through peer-to-peer fundraising. That's a big number. So peer-to-peer fundraising is really simple. It's really about a friend asking on behalf of a charitable organization, a friend making the appeal on behalf of your charity. Um, and it is poised for growth simply because an increasing number of people are raising money for causes they care about by reaching out to people within their networks. Okay, why is peer-to-peer fundraising so important, and what does social media have to do with it? About 50% of people say that the motivation for them to give was simply because a friend asked them. That's really the power of peer-to-peer fundraising. And in on social media platforms, and particularly on Twitter and Facebook, uh, about 0.25% of all impressions convert to donations. And nonprofits that use Twitter are likely to raise about 10 times more funds than nonprofits who don't. Because that's how easy it is to share a message on Twitter, and how easy it is for it to spread. Um, the average gift size of from friends asking friends on social media platforms is about $40. So these are some happy statistics just to encourage you to use peer-to-peer fundraising. Um, Now let's move to a few simple pro tips before I show you a great example of peer-to-peer fundraising. Okay, so pro tip one really is to keep your fundraising campaign fun, easy, and shareable. I had shown you this campaign earlier when I was talking about crowdfunding, the Do It in a Dress campaign. Do It in a Dress combined crowdfunding with peer to peer fundraising in a very clever way. And they made it fun and easy, which is what made it so shareable. What they did is they asked people to wear a school dress or a uniform to show their support to the Do It in a Dress campaign. Because the charity was funding the schooling of underprivileged children in Africa. So, because it was so much fun for adults to really dress up and take a picture and share it on social media, the campaign was a rage. And within a week, there were hundreds of supporters from all over the world who joined the campaign, and they shared it on their networks with thousands more. So, all they had to do is wear a uniform, take a picture, and shoot it on their Facebook page or Twitter page. The campaign grew offline so much that basketball clubs, schools, colleges, institutions joined the campaign, and they got their employees or members to wear these uniforms and play charity games and raise funds for the campaign. That's how far a great idea can really go. So make it fun, easy, and shareable. Pro tip two is to keep it very personal and organic, which means the story is not about you, it's about the donors, it's about your supporters. Nobody wants to share a post about a charity probably more than once, but if it's really about them, if they are the focus of that story, they'd love to share it with their friends and family. So make it personal. Inspire people to share their story with their network, and yours will follow automatically. So all you have to do is uh, put the donor, the supporter, in the focus of your campaign. Here's an example of how Cry did it. Cry is Child Rights in You. It's a leading organization in India for raising for education of underprivileged children. They did a campaign called Joy of Five. What they did is they asked mothers of young children of 5 or below to share their stories of sharing of their parenthood, of their child growing up to be 5. Which parent or mother doesn't want to do that, especially of small children? So they had hundreds of responses, like you see here, of mothers posting pictures with their children and sharing their stories, which became a rage on social media because they shared it with their family and friends, who then shared it even further, and a lot of new supporters took notice of the campaign and joined in too. So this is how you make sure that although Cry's appeal appears in every post, the story is not about Cry; it's about the supporters. So this is really important in peer-to-peer fundraising because you're depending on the message spreading from friend to friend. Okay, so the pro tip three is really to make it rewarding, to make your the engagement of the donor rewarding in some way. Now, this can be through tangible rewards, say, share it with 100 friends and get a chance to win a car. Or it can even just be an emotional reward, like make your city proud by helping to raise the maximum donations. Here's an example of a campaign that did both. It had both tangible reward and an emotional reward, saying four cities, one mission, uh, which city will be the first to reach its goal. So it gave both an emotional and a tangible reward for this peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. Okay, so your pro tip four is to share your progress in real time with regular updates with your supporters. What this does is it encourages your supporters to do more. It also keeps them excited because they are part of your campaign. You're really treating them as your partners, not like your not like money purse. So they're really your partners in the campaign. So it's important to keep them informed about your progress. And also to keep them motivated. So for every donor or for every milestone reached, Do It in Address would put up a picture of the donor, or put up numbers which or statistics about the campaign's progress. Okay, so let's move on to the last pro tip for peer-to-peer fundraising. Remember to use a hashtag. I know we've spoken about this before, but it's really important to create a hashtag for your campaign and to use it in all your communication, every post and every picture. Like you see here, they have a hashtag for called Wash for Work. Now, this campaign was a fundraising campaign was done by a lot of NGOs. A lot of NGOs participated and contributed to this campaign. What kept them all connected and trackable on social media was simply this hashtag. So by using a hashtag, you're not only able to track how far your fundraising campaign has reached on social media, you will also be able to track each supporter and go and thank him personally, individually, and to recognize your evangelists, your biggest supporters, and to give them a larger role to play in your campaign. So that's how important a hashtag is to a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. So that's about peer-to-peer fundraising. And before we move on, I'd like to show you an example of perhaps one of the most talked about peer to peer campaigns in recent times. I'm sure that you were a part of it as well in some way or the other, or at least you watched it. So let me take you to that campaign. Okay, here we go. Okay, so any guesses what this is about? I'm going to play the campaign for you now. I'm going to play the video for you now. Hopefully, you'll be able to see this clearly. Okay, this is taking time, but let me tell you what it is. This is Bill Gates participating in the Ice Bucket Challenge. I'm sure you've all heard of Ice Bucket Challenge. It was a global phenomenon. And this is a great example of a very successful peer-to-peer fundraising campaign on social media. So what it really did is it used a very simple mechanism. It asked people to simply take a cup of cola and put it on themselves to show their support to the ALS awareness building. Now, ALS, probably very few people knew about it before the campaign, but today most people know about it simply because of this social media campaign. So the task was really simple. You were simply asked to put a bucket of water and share the video with your friends and familiar. Such a fun thing to do. Okay, it's playing so.
It's a great cause, but I want to accept this challenge. I want to do it better than it's been done. I've been working on this, got this design. Go. Yeah. It's going to be great. I'm here to join the people bringing attention to Lou Gehrig's disease by taking the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. I'm going to challenge 3 more people: Elon Musk, Ryan Seacrest, and Chris Anderson. Consider yourself challenged. You have 24 hours. Good luck.
Okay, so we're back to the presentation now. So that really is a great example of uh, what social media can do to a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. Uh, through very simple idea, which was fun to do, they were able to attract even celebrities to join in the campaign, and celebrities, asking other celebrities to join, and making the campaign a great success. Well, I just heard that there is a little bit of problem with the audio, so I'm just checking if there's any issue. Okay. Uh, I hope that there is no issue anymore. If there is, then please shoot a question and let me know. Okay. So hopefully we are good to go. I'm going to share the screen now again with you. We're really coming to the end of the presentation. We've spoken about social media fundraising, and we've spoken about crowdfunding and peer-to-peer fundraising. We really now have a little more to talk about. Okay. We're going to talk now about Facebook causes. Have you heard about Facebook causes? Because it's been a great phenomenon that's taking over Please give me. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to share, share the screen with you again of the presentation. It's going to take a few seconds, please wait. Okay, I have a question here from Tyag. He says, will it be effective to promote a page when we are crowdfunding for non-profit? Of course, it will be effective to promote a page, Tyag, uh, because it will only ensure that your page appears more often in people's news feed. It will ensure that you get more impressions on social media and drive more engagement on your page. So that really is very effective. There are organic ways of doing that, but using paid tools will save you a lot of effort and money. Okay. So I'm sharing the screen, the presentation screen with you again. Thank you for your patience. There are small technical glitches that we have to face in a live webinar. Thank you for your patience. Okay, now I'm going back to my webinar, and hopefully it's appearing rightly to you. Let me check if we are on the same page or not. Okay, doesn't look like we are, so I'm going to share the right screen with you. Any other questions, please feel free to post them. Okay, here we are. Okay. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the end of the presentation. Okay, so we were talking about peer-to-peer fundraising. Now, all that we are left to talk about is Facebook causes, because it's really not possible to talk about peer-to-peer fundraising without talking about Facebook causes. Facebook Causes is an app that was developed for social advocacy on Facebook. The app wasn't developed by Facebook, but for Facebook, really. So it's an app that it brings the nonprofits and supporters together on one platform. So what it does is it lets the nonprofits create a page for their campaign and accept donations right there on the page with a Donate Now tab. It also allows supporters to join in the campaign by setting up their own pages in support of the campaign. If you haven't really seen Facebook causes yet, I encourage you to go to causes.com and look at it. And there are lots of examples of case studies about campaigns that have been done using causes. There are also a lot of nonprofits that you can look at and see how they're using this platform. So that's really about the many different ways that you can use social media for your fundraising campaigns. So that brings us to the conclusion. I'm hoping that so far the presentation was useful to you and that you were able to see it without any issues. I hope there was not too much of an issue with the audio. I heard there was. I don't know. I probably didn't mute the attendees, and probably the noise was from there. I'm sorry about that. So now that we are ending the presentation, I'd like to conclude with a few important takeaways, as I call them. Okay. The first one is that social media is a crucial ingredient in your fundraising mix, like we have seen. It cannot be neglected when you're doing your fundraising digitally or even otherwise. Nonprofits that record the highest fundraising success combine multiple social media tools. They don't depend on one, and along with other digital and traditional tools. An example is the Do It in a Dress campaign that combined events offline with their digital crowdfunding site, along with multiple social media channels to drive their campaign. Um, Thirdly, while social media does offer massive reach at minimal cost, you can't really get too excited about it without having a strong social media strategy, because it's really a very crowded medium and it's very challenging to attract and engage the right audience. Not everybody who likes your page is a prospect. And to be able to attract the right audience, you need a strong social media strategy in hand. That's a whole new subject. So I'd like you to go on YouTube and look for social media strategy how-to videos. I'm sure you will learn a lot from them. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to do it right now. Lastly, this is really the formula for your social media success. Uh, Identifying the right channels, creating engaging content that is shareable, and then measuring your campaign on a regular basis from start to end. That really will drive your social media success. So, thank you so much for attending the webinar. Uh, so that's my Twitter handle. You're most welcome to post any questions or comments on the Twitter page. This video will be edited and posted on my YouTube channel. And you can find my YouTube channel is called Mayura Sandeep. You can definitely find the video there in probably a day or two. And you can look at it again if you want to go through it. So thank you again for being a great audience, and see you next time with another webinar. Do post your comments and with me. Thank you so much. Bye.